Evening, everybody. I see here. I'm going to try and make this one a short one. I know a lot of you don't want to sit around and listen to me prattle along. So, I recently read an article that over in the UK there is a Muslim imam who said that when they take over Great Britain, they're going to go door to door, and either you admit that you're going to convert to Islam and become a Muslim, or you will be eliminated. Not my words, theirs. And if you don't believe me, you can look it up. It happened in the UK, so we have that going. Now, go a little further south into Italy. A group of refugees, I guess you want to call them, that came from Africa were on film stating, and I quote, "We need money, pocket money. We don't like breakfast that you serve. We don't lunch that we serve. We don't like the supper that you serve. We don't like staying in these small hotels. We want what we want." So, you now have in Italy these so-called refugees that are supposed to be seeking a better life, demanding to be catered to and treated as, basically treated as royalty. So, and then you got, what was it, that Scandinavian country, I'm not sure, I can't remember which one it is, where the prime minister said, if you come from a Muslim country, that's fine. If you come from a Muslim country and then you want to you complain about how things are in our country, and you want it to be more like the country you left, then leave and go back. We're not going to change our lifestyle to appease you. You have to change your lifestyle to appease us. You came here. We didn't ask you to come. So that was in one of the Scandinavian countries. So we got that crap going on. Now, China. China is pushing buttons, especially around the Scarborough Shoals off the coast of the Philippines, which the international courts have already said belong to the Philippine people. But China wants control of the resources there. So their so-called Coast Guard ships and other maritime vessels are preventing the Philippines from resupplying one of their outposts on, I think it's Scarborough Shoals or something like that. And what the Filipino nation did is they took a ship and they ran it aground so that it would be permanently sitting up on the rocks, and they keep it fully, stocked with naval and marine personnel so that they can actually say, yes, we're staying here, and it extends their maritime influence. The Chinese are preventing them from getting resupplied. And what they're doing is they are surrounding the Philippine vessels with their vessels, and then they're using water cannons, and recently reported they are using sonic weapons against the Philippine military personnel. I don't know. I look at that as an act of war, but since it's not blood being spilt, just loud noise or water, everybody is still just arguing about the issue. So, but personally, you start doing something like that, that's intentional. That's an act of war in my definition. But I'm not a politician, so go figure. Yeah, let's see what else is going on. Oh, the Chinese military is trying to get the country of Cambodia to let them build a naval base there. So they do that, they're going to be strategically placed in different locations in the Pacific region. So much for that. Now, we just recently, I watched the news. There was a young girl that was killed by an illegal alien. A young girl who was in school, supposed to be going for, cheerleading practice or an event or some sort, but she was killed by an illegal alien. Now, the question remains, why hasn't Alejandro Mayorkas been charged with aiding and abetting in the murder of this young lady? I say this because, number one, he is in charge of the border. The person that is in charge of the border over top of him is Kamala Harris. She's so-called the border czar. But nobody is being held accountable for anything. You have almost 9 million people coming into this country. You have massive amounts of influx of fentanyl and other drugs coming into this country. You have military-age young men coming into this country. It's been reported and seen on video on a couple of news sites where these people, once they get across the border into the United States, they burn their passports so that they could say they are from whatever country they want to, and say declare asylum. If you ain't got a passport with your name on there, they're not going to go out of their way to try to find out where you're from, because everybody in South America speaks Spanish. Different dialects maybe, but they all speak in Spanish. So you have these people that are military-aged young men, fit, could be fighters, could be undercover personnel. We don't know. But now we've already had several instances of rape, and now we've had a couple of murders at the hands of illegals. Who is being held responsible? No one. Alejandro Mayorkas, he instituted the changes on the border policy, and because of that, he is the first rung on the ladder of who is to be held accountable. He should be arrested and charged with aiding, abetting, and murder, but it won't happen. If it was any other person, if it was myself, for example, and if I allowed a murderer into a store, and I knew that he was a bad guy, but I'm just letting him in the store. I didn't tell him to shoot nobody. I didn't want to, I wasn't involved. But technically, I'm aiding and abetting the crime. Mayorkas is preventing Border Patrol from removing these illegals, or a good example, the flotation devices Texas put up. Mayorkas and the federal government sued the state of Texas, and they have to remove them. The 3 high cargo containers that the state of Arizona put to secure the gaps in the wall, the federal government sued and had them removed because of trumped up excuses of why they have to have access to that side of the border. What it is it is a systematic attempt to import people that will vote Democrat. I hate to say it, but it's true. If the Democrats are giving them free reign to come in, which they are, if the Democrats are giving them welfare payments, which they are, if the Democrats are putting them up in hotels, giving them meal vouchers, giving them clothing, which they are, then it stands to reason that once they get fully established somewhere, they're going to start voting Democrat, because the Democrats don't care if you're an illegal or not. They're trying to prevent one bill that says you have to, make sure you're a citizen before you can vote. So, any way you want to look at it, it's the Democrats want full control of this country, and by hook or crook, they're going to try and do it. Now, speaking of Democrats, we have a president whose poll numbers are beyond crazy low. Our president's son, who was kicked out of the Navy for cocaine use, who went to work for Burisma with no knowledge whatsoever of anything in the energy industry, but getting paid millions of dollars, who, while he's working for Burisma, his father at the time, vice president of the United States, withholds $1 billion unless the Ukrainian government fires the lawyer that was investigating the company Burisma, where Vice President Joe Biden, his son, was working. So Too many dominoes are all falling at the same time, and everybody's saying, "Oh, there's no there," or there's nothing that indicates that they're corrupt. So ask yourself this, people. Joe Biden's been in office for over 40 years, which means he's been a public servant living off of welfare payments from the taxpayers for over 40 years. Now, the President of the United States only gets paid $400,000. Senators are getting paid, I think, just under $200,000. Congress is getting a little less than that as well. But why are they being multimillionaires within a few years? Makes no sense. If you for 40 years, just do the math. Don't even trust me. Do the math. Say $200,000 a year for 40 years. That don't make you $13-14 million richer. So corruption capital is now the United States, and if you take a good look at the tree in front of the White House, the so-called national Christmas tree, even that is leaning over because even the tree in D.C. is crooked. ICY out.